Last call Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern, live here on WagerTalk TV. It's WagerTalk Last Call. It's 11 a.m. Eastern Saturday, and we are live here on WagerTalk TV and archive 24/7 here for your viewing pleasure. Loaded show today on Saturday. I am Steve Merrill, filling in for Kelly Stewart, filling in for Joe Ranieri, and we've got Yanni the Greek, Carmine Bianco, Brian Leonard. We're going to talk baseball, soccer, maybe some UFC, anything else, maybe prediction markets, if you saw Yanni yesterday on Newsmax. Let's get right to it. Steam report off the top, though. Yanni the Greek, Newsmax contributor. I can say that officially now because I saw you yesterday, my man. Thought you were going to get preempted. I turned it on around 3:30 to watch you because I heard you're going to be on, and they had the Newsmax founder on live speaking for like
That's
20
what
minutes.
killed it, man. That guy talked for an hour about, I don't even know. And the guy kept coming on, the producer. He's like, I'm so sorry, man. I'm so sorry. He's like, we're going to have to cut it even shorter. And I'm like, all right.
Well, I was glad you got on at all.
I just wanted to go off, like, really give them the gambling insight and, why it's beneficial to someone like myself. But yeah, they just didn't get a chance, but it was cool. Well,
it was a good segment. We'll talk a little bit more about it in a moment, just in case people didn't see it. But you said something that I always say is that the prediction markets don't care because it's zero sum. But we'll talk more about that in a moment, why it's different from sports betting, the casinos. But what do you got going on this loaded Saturday, July the 18th, your Steam report?
Thank God there's the Steam room later today, 1 p.m. Eastern. It's free for everyone. So much going on. Make sure you join me because I will be releasing my NFL and college football power ratings. Not only am I going to give you the top 10 in both, but I'm going to give you the exact rating. So those of you that want to create your own power ratings this season have a starting off point. So I'm going to do that in the Steam room today. Now we got a lot to get to. Start off with the World Cup. Listen, Argentina and England, this is a tough game because the mental aspect. When you look at both these matchups, England, France, Argentina, Spain, based on our handicap, Spain should actually be a bigger favorite over Argentina than France should be over England. But that's not the case because of the mental aspect that you can't quantify. What does England really have to play for? Now, granted, what does France have to play for also? But France is a little bit different. Their game with Spain was much different than England with Argentina. Like, England was minutes away from playing in a final. England was already in their heads, we're in the finals. And all of a sudden you look up and you're tied. You look up and now you're behind. And within 6 minutes, everything changed. And now you got to get yourself up to play for third place. That's a difficult ask. And that's why sharp money came in immediately on France on the three-way, and they immediately bet the over also. Now, they've done it throughout the World Cup where they've got out ahead of the public and a lot of times come back and bet the other side at a better number for more money off screen. So it'll be interesting to see, are they going to take England at a better price? Are they going to take the under at a better price? Or are they going to keep that France and over ticket where they do probably going to end up with closing line value because they went over 3 juiced and they took France at, I think, even money, even some plus money in that three-way. Now, for Spain and Argentina, I haven't seen anything yet sharp in any accounts, and the betting line kind of reflects that. It hasn't moved since the opener. The only thing we saw movement on the total, which is exactly what they've been doing throughout the World Cup. The public's been betting every game over, just about 9 out of 10 plus. They're betting it over. Sharp saw immediately they could set themselves up with a middle or, at the worst case, a ton of closing line value by simply going over when the line opens up. And that's what they did here. They went over 2 at minus 125, minus 130, minus 140. When it got to 2.5, they didn't touch it. I haven't seen any overs at 2.5. So they got out ahead and just took advantage of the good number. I haven't seen anything as far as the side. Public, though, public's heavy on the over today. Whether they're on France or England, they're betting the over. And in Spain and Argentina, seeing a little more Argentina money, whether it's Messi or whether it's just because Spain isn't sexy and they don't get it done with, flash and goals. They're just not getting the love from the public, even though, they're arguably the best team. And I thought going in, they were the best team on paper, at least. And, it turned out that way. So there's a little a love for Argentina from the betting public. But again, it's tomorrow's game that's going to get the heavy action. Today's England-France, it'll attract money, but not what Argentina-Spain's going to attract tomorrow. Now, we also have MLB, WNBA, CFL, soccer. I released soccer, 3 soccer premiums to subscribers, all 4% plays. I know at least one of them is up for free at WagerTalk. We bet in Ecuador. We bet in Scotland, like those different countries. Make sure you check those out. A little baseball for you if you want, Steve, real quickly. We narrowed these down for you, so pay attention. 908 Milwaukee -130, 910 Toronto even money, 913 Tampa +105 and even money, 919 Texas +110, and 928 Yankees and the over 8.5 in the Yankees game. They also went under 9 in St. Louis, Arizona, 911 over 8.5 Philly, Houston, Baltimore, Houston, forgive me. And then Texas, Atlanta, 919. They went under 9.5. WNBA, they took the over 178 New York, Indiana. They laid 11.5 and 12 on the best team in the WNBA. That's Minnesota. We have a future on them at +750. And then game 639, Washington +10. And finally, in CFL, they took Calgary +2. I shared, since there's no Steam sheet today, because we have the Steam room, you're going to get it for free anyway. This is exactly what would have been on there as of this morning.
Yeah, once again, Steam Room is free in about 97, I don't know, 92 hours, a little less than 2 hours.
A little less than 2 hours.
Eastern. A little less than, I got to be exact, 113 minutes. I got it now. I'm doing my math here in my head. 113 minutes from now,
Yes, sir.
1 o'clock Eastern, free, the Steam Room here on Wager Talk. So once again, check that out with Yanni today on Saturday. If you've been thinking about joining for the football season, it's a great time to try it out for free here this Saturday at 1 o'clock Eastern. And Yanni, we're going to talk more about soccer with Carmine, so I'll save some of my thoughts for then.
Please,
but it's interesting that, this special also, 7 days for $49, by the way, $7 a day to get every one of Yanni's plays. And you heard it's not just one sport, it's multiple sports. That includes everything. 7 days for just $49 with promo code ACE7. ACE7 gets you 7 days and nights for $7 a day and night with every sport every day. It's a great way to try it as all sport, all access. And then once again, the Steam Room is free for everybody at 1 o'clock Eastern this afternoon. And I'll talk more soccer with Carmine here in a little bit, but you mentioned how everyone's on the over in this third place game today. The sports books don't sleep for long, and it was easy money for decades to just play the over in these third place games. In fact, the last 52 years, 11 of the 12 games have had 3 goals or more. In fact, 7 of the last 11 times, one team has scored 3 goals or more in this game. Because once again, the teams don't care about this game. And you see the playground mentality. We talk about that in the NBA, that playoff games are lower scoring than regular season games because of the defensive intensity. They have not brought that. But the odds makers aren't sleeping. I mean, we're getting 3 juice to the over here, even some 3.5s out there now. And a lot of the games have landed exactly on 3. So maybe you play an exact 3 goals. I'm not sure what that's paying out. It's probably plus money somewhere. But we do see teams get here quite often in these meaningless third place games. And also, like Yanni, that you mentioned, Argentina's looking a little public, because I said this yesterday on Wager Talk today. I follow it kind of closely now that we're in the knockout rounds, but I don't follow soccer otherwise. But Spain's looked like the team to beat for me from the eye test, and they're the best defensive team without a question. And defense wins championships. Yet so it seems obvious to me. Yet I see a lot of people liking Argentina. They're all rooting for Messi, so it might be a little bit of a fade the public football style here in the World Cup finals tomorrow on Sunday. So we'll see what happens. But I want to pick your brain on the second half of baseball here now that we're almost 100 games in, so it's not really the second half, but it's officially after the All-Star break now. Thoughts on the first half, how it went for you guys, and thoughts on the second half in general?
The sharp bettors did not do well in Major League Baseball in the first half. Now, this isn't the first time I've seen this happen. In years past, it's rare where they have entire winning season. It's kind of like even with profitable stocks. If you look at any profitable stock, they don't go up every single day. Even if they have a winning year, a profitable year, they're going to have days that they're down, weeks that they're down, even months that they're down. And in baseball, how it usually turned out was they either crush the first half and then adjustments are made and the models don't work as well in the second half, or they don't do well in the first half, then they adjust their models and do well in the second half. It's rarely that they get crushed the entire year or win the entire season. And I'm hoping it's the latter, that they've had a losing first half of the season and they do well in the second half. Now, I wasn't surprised that most betting syndicates haven't been profitable when it comes to sides and totals. That they do well with the props, they do well with the live betting, but most bettors aren't able to get down on that stuff like they do because they're taking out the good numbers. And with that said, even the quant that I work with, that I love this guy, he's awesome. Like the stuff he sends me, and he doesn't pick any games. He just sends me data, and it's on me to determine how to use the data. And even with his data, it didn't produce profit. Where in other sports, I've made mistakes using the data, but he wasn't wrong. Like his numbers were on point, and it was my mistakes, my inability to use the data correctly. But in MLB, that hasn't been the case. Like even his data is just not measuring up. And it seems like that's exactly what's happening with the betting syndicates. I'm hoping that changes in the second half. What I've seen so far is kind of what I expected. We talk about at the beginning of every year, don't get too excited 1 month in. None of these teams are going to win 65% of their games. In fact, when the season's over, we may get 1 or 2 teams at the very most that win 60+%. And it's exactly what's panning out this year. There's only 2 teams above 60%. Right. That's the LA Dodgers and the Milwaukee Brewers. Every other team is going to win their division, cashing about 56, 57, 58% of, the winning 56, 57, 58% of their games. And that's what makes baseball betting so difficult for recreational bettors. Because on paper, betting the better team isn't going to make you money. The money line is the great equalizer, just like the point spread is in point spread sports. But the difference with baseball is the sample size, that we have a big enough sample size that very few outliers happen. Very few teams are able to outperform their metrics. Few teams are able to outperform the betting market. There's enough time for statistical significance to do what it's supposed to do. And we see that in baseball, unlike other sports, where in other sports, it's happened before, where we look at a team every year in college football or in the NFL. We're like, how's this team 10-1? On paper, they're a 5-6 team. They're 6-5 at best. Why are they 11-1? Oh, wait, they're 10-0 on 3-point games. Games decided by, 1 or 2 points. So they've gotten lucky. Like that happens. You could sustain that. You could defy probability in the short term. And we see it in NFL. We see it in college football. We even see it, in college basketball. But in those sports like baseball, even NBA, where you have a huge sample size, teams are going to regress and progress towards the mean. And that's exactly what you're seeing. And again, not to go on a rant, but this is what makes it difficult for recreational bettors betting baseball, because they want to bet teams like the Dodgers every night. They want to bet the Brewers every night. They want to bet the Rays, the Yankees. And even teams like that, you're lucky if they're going to win 6 out of 10 games. And if you're laying minus 160, 170, 180 every night, just do the math. They're not going to be profitable. So that's my takeaway in the second half. Don't be afraid of some of these teams that have looked horrific, because they will improve. Like, again, just like there's only such a winning percentage they could hit to the upside, there's also a winning percentage they could hit to the downside. Like that, don't be afraid to bet some of these bad teams that aren't going to end at a 33% win rate. Like they're going to get up to that 38, 39%. And that gives us the second half to make some money off these teams, because they're going to be getting plus money. And more importantly, these are teams that are knocked out of the playoffs. You think they're playing for nothing, but a lot of times they're bringing up youth, and these guys are playing for a job next season. So if anything, you're getting a motivated team, and the dominant team, if anything, you're like, okay, it's the Angels coming to town. We could relax this weekend. So don't be afraid to bet these bad teams in the second half. That's my takeaway. And be cautious betting these first place teams or these teams in the must win. It's a little early for must win. We'll talk about that in August and September. But you'll usually pay a premium, and that premium will make them just unprofitable. That's the problem. And
I'll tell you right now,
it's like that.
Well, it's hard to quantify in any sport like must-win. I mean, there are ways to do must-win situations, like in the NFL in December, a team that's still alive for the playoffs against a team that's been eliminated. I talk about that a lot in December. But if you blindly play against must-win teams in any sport over the last 20 years, you probably come out ahead. I know in the NFL it works well in December, and you're talking about it. September is the equivalent in baseball. Yeah, you're exactly right. They pull up these AAA guys that are often hungry. They're playing hard.
Yeah.
They're not fatigued. And you get some huge prices on top of that. And the other reason it works in every sport is because the public and the odds makers over-adjust the lines. Like you're saying, you pay that premium for must-wins. But I love where you're going with the 60-40 rule, because I've talked about this for decades in baseball, and you're spot on. Only 2 teams above 60% right now out of 30. And to take the other side of the coin, there are 3 teams below 40%, but they're at 38.5%, 39%, and 39.5% right now. The Angels, Royals, and Rockies. And to do the math on 162 games, if you win only 40%, that's still 65 wins. If you win 60%, you're still 97 and 65. So the worst teams in the league should win over 60. The best teams barely win 100.
My quant, he sends me projections every week. And right now, the team that's expected to be the worst is Colorado. He has them winning 63 games. Okay.
Right.
Even that gets them to 39%. And he has them the worst. Like the bottom of teams like the Mets, the Cincinnati, the Angels, the Royals, the Jays. These teams are all expected to win more than 40% of their games. And you see teams like that are below that right now. Don't be afraid to bet them. Again, they've done that. But if even a month ago, you had a lot of those teams down in that low 30 range that you were able to make some money coming down the stretch. Like they won, 6 out of 10 games. We saw the Pirates win 7 out of their last 10. We saw San Francisco win 6 out of their last 10. Even the Mets going 5-5. Like if you're going 5-5 and you're plus 140 every night, you're profitable. If you're even getting plus 110 at 5-5, you're making money. So those teams that were way behind, they did do some catching up, because when I look at it now, I'm a little bit surprised to see everyone right near that 40 range. I mean, the lowest is LA Angels at 38.8, right. And we have them projected to win 40. So like they're right there. Everyone, they do what they're supposed to do. That's what I like about baseball. The teams end up doing what they should do on paper more times than not. And then in the playoffs as well, in the World Series, where they play a series, the cream kind of rises to the top. Oh, let me share real quick. I sent out only 2 future bets this entire season in Major League Baseball. The first week of the season, I sent out Tampa Bay to win the World Series. I pick out one National League team, one AL team. I gave out Tampa Bay, and I gave out Milwaukee. Now, I knew Tampa Bay wasn't the best American League team, but my quant had them winning the most games. He had them winning 92 games. And the next best team he had winning games-wise was the Yankees at 88. So I said, wait, Tampa's probably going to win the division. Tampa's probably going to get home field, throughout the AL playoffs. And the odds they were given were just too good to pass up. And with Milwaukee, I do think they're the best team on paper. 1A, 1B with the Dodgers. I think I have the better defense with Milwaukee, and the Dodgers have the better offense. But I do think Milwaukee can beat them in a 7-game series. And the odds were good on Milwaukee and Tampa. Those are my horses. And then, like I said, WNBA, I have Minnesota Lynx, and NFL college football futures will be coming up. And by the end of this month, they'll all be out as well. Damn, it's here. Football's here.
Football is here. And don't forget, there's a 6-week special right now at WagerTalk, basically through the start of college football. That's Saturday, August 29th is a full slate. I think there's like 8 games on the board. And you can get every baseball play, everything, all sports really, for $2.99. So once again, Yanni's 7-day is $49, but you can get the next 6 weeks for just $2.99. Every sport, every day, including that first Saturday of college football on August 29th. NFL preseason, I think, starts August 6th, Yanni, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of sports here coming up. So don't tell anybody. It's the quiet time. It's summer. It's not quiet at all, man. There's some great money to be made. Let people know what they're going to get in the steam room today free at 1 o'clock Eastern.
Yeah, join me for the steam room because I didn't even put a package out today. I'm going to share everything I can in that steam room. And the reason I didn't put up a independent package is because we're offering 7 days for $49. Like, what am I going to put up a package for? Just get the 7 days, $49. You're going to get everything. And there's a lot over the next 7 days. And more importantly, expect some football futures to start coming. So over these next 7 days for $49, you get everything I have today, which is all those sports, MMA, UFC a little later, World Cup today, tomorrow. You get a lot of stuff and leading into next week. So join me in the steam room, 1 p.m. Eastern. Bring all your questions. Again, I'm there working for you, and let's do some damage. Best of luck to everyone today. Great to see you again, Steve, and best of luck to you, brother.
And Yanni, they can ask you the prediction market questions because I forgot to get to that segment.
Yes,
they can ask you about prediction markets in the steam room as well because I know you have some great insight on that.
I love those. You get such great prices.
Yeah, so if you guys have any questions about Kalshi, about Poly Market, Yanni's the guy to talk to in the steam room today as well, and any other sport. 1 o'clock Eastern free here on Saturdays to take advantage. And then once again, 7 days for $49 with promo code ACE7 at wagertalk.com. Yanni, great seeing you. We will catch up soon, my friend. Stay
Thank you, brother. Best of luck to you.
Talk to you. All right, that's pretty much every sport on the board right there. But we're going to dive even deeper into soccer because it is World Cup finals tomorrow on Sunday, and then the third place game today on Saturday. And nobody better to talk to about soccer than Carmine Bianco, soccer expert, WagerTalk.com. Hey. And Carm, caught some of your videos over the past few weeks. I've enjoyed them. And I told Dan Alexander yesterday, every year I don't really have any interest in the World Cup. And then I watch the USA games and I get interested. And then the knockout round starts, I get very interested because I love sports that matter. Any type of playoff atmosphere, I love. And really have been watching a lot of the World Cup since the round of 16, basically. I told Yanni, on the surface, it seems to me like Spain is the better team. Argentina's been playing on borrowed time, extra time, no pun intended, in the majority of their games. I watched that Egypt game about a week and a half ago, and that's what kind of got me hooked because that was going to be one of the biggest upsets in history until it wasn't. We'll talk about the finals tomorrow, but first let's talk about this England-France game. Yanni and I both referenced how historically these games are much higher scoring. Teams don't care. And by the way, Carm, the one video I was about to do a few weeks ago was the Turkey-USA game. I was going to give out the over because that was a meaningless game. They'd already clinched. Turkey was out. And I was kicking myself afterwards for not recording a video there. So I was like, I'll do a third place over. And then I see the line is 3, even 3.5 in some spots. I'm like, well, they've priced me out of that one. The odds makers are onto that trend, high scoring, meaningless games. Is there any value left, and how are you attacking this one on Saturday?
You can. First, thanks for having me on. And forget about Lionel Messi being the GOAT. Like, I have to follow Gianni. Like, that guy is the GOAT. He has been around and continues to win each and every year. So it is tough following the actual GOAT. So let's forget about Lionel Messi for a second. But, Steve, you look at it, and the total steamed to like 3.5 in this one. And, a lot of my clients, I messaged them, the ones that had the World Cup package that I have a Discord channel with, and just give them thoughts on where I think a line will move. And if you're not taking it now, because a lot of people don't love to bet early. They want to wait till game day. It's one of those things where maybe the bankroll just isn't big enough, but how to tackle it when the line moves to like 3.5. Now, when you look at a total of 3.5, if you're going to play that total of 3.5, because you're expecting goals in this game and you're going to bet the over 3.5, you're obviously expecting both teams are going to score. You're not expecting France to win 4-0 or England to win 4-0. And books do have that market where you can bet like both teams to score and over 2.5 goals. So you're bringing that total down. Now, even that, I told people to, sort of grab it because it was at 135 and then it hit 145. And I'm seeing like 150 now, and it's likely going to go to 116, possibly 170 as we get closer to that 5 p.m. Eastern time, as people look for alternate bets or they start to see all this stuff on social media about betting these teams. There are some changes. Obviously, with France, you look at France and Saliba, the Arsenal defender, obviously isn't playing. He was injured, back injury, and he is gone for the next 5 to 6 weeks. They're going to make a couple changes to the team France. N'Golo Kante, who hasn't played a single minute in the World Cup, is slated to play in midfield for them today. But France is going to play a game in which you're going to see Kylian Mbappe in there. And you're likely going to see him in there for like 90 minutes because he still has a chance to catch Lionel Messi for the Golden Boot. They're tied on 8 goals, 4 assists for Messi, 3 assists for Kylian Mbappe, and the assists are the tiebreaker. So that's something that you need to look at. If he scores 1 goal today ahead of tomorrow's game, he is now the Golden Boot leader. If he scores a couple goals today, he actually becomes the all-time leading goal scorer in World Cup history. So that's something to look at as well too. The one for him just to score a goal today is like minus 190. It is an insane price on a goal scorer, but the books are pricing it because they know people are going to bet it. So they're pricing it to the market of the people. Hey, you guys are going to bet Kylian Mbappe because there is no option. It is only yes. You're either betting them to yes, and you're laying $1.90. I would go one step further, and I would take him to score 2 goals in the game, and you're getting plus 290, almost 3-1 on your money, because he is going to look to score goals. He wants to become the all-time leading goal scorer. It's the only thing France really has left after losing to Spain in that semifinal round. So you look at that. I heard you talking about the exact, the game landing on 3. I could not find odds on the game landing on exactly 3, but I will say this: if you look at some of the scores, the most common score line in soccer is 2-1. Mm-hmm. France to win 2-1 is plus 750. England to win 2-1 is plus 1100. Even the 2-2 draw, this is the lowest price I've seen in the World Cup this year. 2-2 draw is plus 950. I haven't seen a 2-2 draw in the World Cup priced at under 10-1, and they're pricing it. So they're expecting goals, and 2-2 is a possibility. France 3-1 is plus 1200. That's a viable one. England winning 3-1 plus 2,500. I wouldn't take that. I think France wins today, but I think the both teams to score and over 2.5 goals is the way to go now, because the total is at 3.5. You're going to need 4. This way, you only need 3. And the difference between obviously 3 and 4 is a goal is big in the World Cup, scoring a goal. I wouldn't lay the 3.5. I would rather take the 2.5 and both teams to score and lay the VIG that has to come along with it.
Yeah, I mean, if you just look at the historical results, once again, going back, you got to go back to 1974, where we had a 1-0 game. So the last 12 times over the last 52 years, we've had 3 goals or more in 11 of those 12 games. These are the third-place games. We've had a team score at least 2 or more in 7 of the last 11. The winning team has scored at least 2 or more in 7 of the last 11. It's hard not to imagine France scoring here for the reasons you mentioned, especially with the Golden Boot, nothing to play for. And then on the other side, that's going to probably hurt their defense because they're going to push up more. And then England's got nothing to play for. And you always talk about the hangover, and everyone thinks the letdown is going to hit England more. Well, that usually shows, in my opinion, on the defensive side. And I use the NBA analogy a lot. Whenever I have what I call a playground game where neither team cares, it's usually up and down, all offense. Whereas you get to the NBA Finals, there's a lot more defense. I agree today's game should be wide open. I like the approach, maybe both teams to score and some other intricate ways to play that. But as you said, Carm, I mean, everyone's on the same side, or total rather, here in this one. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong. We talk about fading the public, right? The public's not always wrong. And you like to find line value, but you also have a feeling of how the game's going to play out. And it's hard not to see a shootout in this one with 2 teams that are disappointed to be here.
I have played contrarian in quite a few games this year, this World Cup, just because I knew the public was moving the line one way. It's sort of like the France and Spain game. I tried to explain to people that, yes, there are 2 very good teams with dynamic attacks, but that does not mean that the game is going to go over, that there's going to be goals. Spain is a very good team, big ball possession team, and they're defensively, they've only allowed a goal. If you go back to winning the Euros in 2024, they've only allowed 3 goals, and a couple of them were in friendlies to like Peru. They allowed 1 goal to Peru and 1 to, I'm not even sure who the other team was, but those were friendlies. Like, this team plays the same each thing. And it's a shame because I have a futures bet on Rodri to win player of the tournament. And had England done what they were supposed to do and beat Argentina instead of folding up like a cheap suit, It would be England in the final, and my Rodri to win the best player of the tournament at I think it was a plus 300 or plus 400 would win now. But now it's Lionel Messi's to lose. It's pretty much all locked up unless Spain really hands it to them tomorrow, Steve, and Rodri gets a couple of goals. He's not in there to score goals. He's there to shut down teams. He shut down France. He shut down Dembele. He shut down Kylian Mbappe. It's a tough ask, but this guy has been phenomenal. He'll be definitely on the World Cup best 11 as the midfielder, but unfortunately, Lionel Messi is going to win. Even in a loss tomorrow, Messi will win player of the tournament, and more so if Mbappe wins the Golden Boot. They're going to give Messi something.
Yeah,
FIFA loves Messi. You know what I mean? That FIFA stands for "Fixed It for Argentina." That's what the letters of FIFA stand for, if you never knew that.
It's kind of like the Tom Brady situation in the NFL, though it went a little anti-Brady in the later years, but you always kind of know like some guys are going to get sentimental votes for MVP, and it's the same situation here. And, we almost got a rematch of the 2022 finals in Qatar when Argentina and France played. And France does play some high-scoring games, by the way, because that was 3-3 before it went to penalties. Keep in mind, in 2018, when they beat Croatia, it was 4-2. And now they're in the third place game, so we'll see if they could continue that. Does Messi score tomorrow, Carm? I mean, you mentioned that Spain defense. They've given up only one goal the entire tournament. As a somewhat soccer novice, me watching from the outside, they look like the best team. Defense wins championships. If you believe in that adage, they're the team to beat as well. And then we talked about Argentina. I mean, they were fortunate to beat Egypt. They're down 2-0 with like 10 minutes to play again. As a 9-1 underdog, Egypt almost wins that game. And most of the other wins in the knockout round have been kind of come from behind. And England, and we see this a lot in hockey. You cover hockey extremely closely, just like you do soccer. Teams get the lead. They go into that defensive shell. It's like the prevent defense in the NFL. It prevents you from winning half the time. And that's what happened to England. And then England starts subbing out their, offensive guys for defensive guys with minutes to go to makes it even worse when they had to come from behind. But yeah, Argentina finds a way to do it. But it's hard for me to imagine against that Spain defense that they're going to be able to do that. I think if Spain gets a goal at any point in this game, it's over. And I personally like them at plus money in regulation, but I like them to advance either way. I think Spain's a team to beat. But what's your take on this final Sunday?
Yeah, the quick add to your the England one that loss I put squarely on, not on the players. I put it on Thomas Tuchel, his second half substitutions, not only in the semifinals but much of the tournament weren't that great for that team. And they ended the game with, of their 10 players, 7 were defensive players. Yeah. 6 of them were either fullbacks or center backs. You are not going to, they handed the keys to Argentina and said, here you go, try and beat us. And they beat them.
Yeah, it's like, we'll give you 20 shots. Hopefully you don't put one of them in, is basically what it came. I mean, they were just peppering them. It was like a power play is what it looked like.
Yeah.
It
was
like
a 5-on-3. It was like a 5-on-3 power play.
Yeah.
The difference here is, and I wanted to mention that because this has to do with tomorrow's game, is Spain does not play the way England plays. Spain will play the way they played against France, which is they'll try and control the ball. They will attack. If they get that first goal, they are not going to sit back. They are going to continue to attack because they have their foot on your throat and they want to end you. They literally want to end you. They will look to score a second goal and look to score. And that's what they did to France. The minute they scored the first, arguably the game was over. The minute they scored the second goal, France was done. They generated practically no XG at all. And then Spain almost scored a third goal that was marginally offside, but still offside. Against Argentina, they are going to plan to do the exact same thing. Whether it comes to fruition or not, we'll have to see. Will Messi score? I would say Messi's route to scoring tomorrow is if Argentina are awarded a penalty and Messi takes it.
Yeah,
I believe that at this point, he is not even thinking of winning the Golden Boot. He is thinking about hoisting the trophy and winning the World Cup. And if he has to become playmaker to do it, that's what he's going to do. He's going to either feed Julian Alvarez or Lautaro Martinez, whichever one of the two starts. He's going to look at being the guy who attracts a couple players and then tries to find the open space for others. England did a great job of shutting them down until they didn't. And unfortunately, so we shall see. Spain's the better team on paper. And on the field, Spain have been the best team in this tournament. Only a draw in their opening game against Cape Verde, who also drew with Argentina before it went to extra time. So gotta love Cape Verde. Only 525,000 people on the in that nation, and yet yes, the Italians still can't qualify for a World Cup. But I digress. I like Spain tomorrow. The safer bet for people, if you're worried about the game going past 90 minutes and injury time, is just to take Spain to lift the trophy. That price is about minus 150, minus 160, and I think they get the job done. And yes, you're laying vig, but there's nothing worse than betting the three-way line. The game goes to extra time, your team wins, and you're stuck with a losing bet while your team is hoisting a trophy.
Yeah, and then the tricky thing there is it's almost 50-50 if it goes to shootouts. So you're thinking, well, we're better off just taking the plus money, but then you got that extra 30 minutes of that added time, overtime basically, in which Spain could still win it if it was, say, 0-0 going into that session. Yeah, excellent points. And, the thing comes down to me is Argentina really the second best team? As you mentioned, they could have lost about 3 or 4 other times in this tournament, whereas Spain probably has been dominant every game.
I think we saw the two best teams in the tournament in the last round,
I agree.
Spain and France.
I felt like that was the final.
Yeah. But the thing is that FIFA, and we will keep mentioning FIFA, and I will talk just a couple things quickly because I know Brian Leonard's probably waiting around saying, get that guy off the screen. But FIFA set this up much like March Madness has 4 number 1 seeds, and they can't meet until the semifinals. FIFA set this up where Spain, France, Argentina, and England could not meet unless they lost their group. Had they won their group, and that was all that mattered, and they were in groups that were obviously winnable, as long as they won their group, they would not meet until the semifinals of the World Cup. And we got 2 very good semifinals, and it sort of should have been Spain and France. As you said, Argentina's been they're on borrowed time. It just seems like they're on borrowed time against Egypt for all the stuff that's gone on with VAR. The one against obviously against Switzerland, where they used the mistaken identity rule, which was never implemented for what they used it for in that game. It was meant to be if a yellow card was given to you and I are on the same team, it was given to you, but I actually committed the foul.
Right, they switch within the same team.
Down, they go to the monitor, they come back, they rescind it from you, and they give me the yellow card. It doesn't go from a player on one team to a player on another. And that's what made that a farce, because Switzerland were on their way to beating Argentina in that one. They were clearly the better team in the second half in a game that was tied at the time 1-1. So we'll see. Everyone believes that the script has been written on Argentina. I don't believe it. But as far as VAR goes, 48 teams in the World Cup. Okay. In the round of, in the quarterfinals, there are 16 teams left. Steve, of the 16 teams, each team had something go to VAR, and only one team did not have a ruling against them in VAR, and that was Argentina.
That's crazy.
Take it one step further, 48 teams in this World Cup, and of every single VAR intervention, every team had a goal either taken away or something happened to them, except for Argentina.
I had not heard that stat. That's an incredible stat, and I've watched enough to believe it because I definitely not seen it go any other way. Yeah, that's the slippery slope with replay. I have a problem in it, whether it's the NBA or soccer, when you're reviewing one thing and then you completely overturn it and give a foul to the other team, or a card in this case, or in the NBA, a foul to the other team. That's not the intention. It's to make sure that the call itself wasn't wrong in that circumstance. And I think that's the slippery slope now these sports are having to adjust with replay. But yeah, it's been a huge factor in the World Cup, and first time ever, and I put this on Twitter, the first time ever that the top 4 seeds in FIFA, whatever you want to call it, have all made the Final Four. So the seeding worked in this case. We did get some great matchups. I think we'll have a great final again tomorrow. And by the way, just getting Argentina in the final, that might be all they want if you're conspiracious, right? You don't necessarily need them to win it now. It's the final game, so maybe they don't care at this point. But yeah, I think Argentina's up against it as well. Carmine, let people know what you've got going on at Wager Talk. We talked a lot of soccer, but you cover a lot of other sports as well.
Yeah, I'm just in the midst of getting I wanted to confirm some lineups, even though the lineups aren't confirmed. looking at some team reports on who is going to play today for France and England. So I'm comfortable with my plays now, and they're being loaded, and they'll be up within the next half hour. So you'll find those on the page. I already have a play up, a best bet for the World Cup tomorrow, the World Cup final. And WagerTalk also has a very good deal as well, too, where you can use the code BB149, and that'll get you $149 off of a full year's package. And a lot of people taking advantage of it. I'm looking forward to it. This has been a fantastic World Cup. We're at just under 65 units of profit in the World Cup, and which is number one at WagerTalk. I went in with the expectation of 40 would be great, and then I had to readjust it to 50 and then 60. So I'm aiming for 70 by the time tomorrow rolls around and is done, and Spain is hoisting that cup. Hopefully we'll be over 70 units of profit.
Look at them, and the numbers don't lie, and promo code's a great deal too. BB149 for $149 off. And football might be ending here in the World Cup, but soccer's around the world year long. Carm covers that. He covers hockey, and of course, American football around the corner. Carmine, you've had quite some success, especially in the Survivor contest and other contests over the years. So we'll talk more about that here in the next few weeks as we get closer to the American football kickoff as well. Hey, best of luck. Enjoy the games today on Saturday and Sunday. Really enjoyed talking to you. Glad we got to talk before the World Cup final, because you're
Thanks for having me.
The guy to go to when it comes to World Cup soccer. Thanks, Carm. Talk to you soon.
Take care.
All right, we got a little soccer. Talked a little bit of everything else, baseball steam report, but I want to get some deep dives into these games with Brian Leonard, baseball expert. And by the way, Freebird 1988, $10 donation, man. Too generous. Thank you so much. And by the way, see it on the screen there. All the donations do go to charities here at WagerTalk TV. We pile them up and we drop them into the charities across the board during the year. I know a lot of you on my WagerTalk videos drop them as well. It's much appreciated. We do put those to a good use. So Freebird 1988, thank you so much for the generosity here. And if you all have any comments, any questions, any games you want to get to here with Brian Leonard, drop them in the chat, and we will talk some Major League Baseball. And Brian, good to see you, my man. We caught up at an Aviators game almost 4 years ago. August of 22.
That was the last time I did a show with you.
I know. It's hard to believe it's been 4 years since you and I have seen each other.
That's
but it's
right.
been good.
Hopefully
you'll get baseball there getting soon, right? You might get an MLB team eventually in Vegas.
There you go. Yeah, in a couple of years. By the way, your background is a lot more crowded than it was the last time I did a show with you, and it's starting to look like my office. I've got stuff all over the place.
Funny thing is, I don't want to move too much, but there's some Aviator helmets that we got at the game back there. The Nacho helmet is back there. Yeah, the Aviator Cup is back there too. So it's definitely grown since we went to the AAA game in Summerlin. And hopefully eventually your Sacramento A's will end up in Vegas as they're supposed to.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you call them the Sacramento A's. That's not technically correct. They're just the Athletics. Hey, before we get to any specific games, and viewers, drop them in the chat if you have any games you want to look at here with Brian Leonard. Thoughts on the first half? Yanni said some of the Sharps did not do great. He thinks it might reverse in the second half. And what I didn't get to ask him is, does he think anything's fundamentally changed? You know, baseball's always tweaking things, and sometimes we don't even know till after the fact whether they're juicing the ball or deadening the ball or putting them in humidors. You know, what are your thoughts so far in the baseball season?
Yeah, it's been a fun baseball season. There's been some surprise teams. I like the Cardinals coming into the season. Nobody else seemed to like them, and they've gotten off to a real good start. We'll see how long that lasts, but it's the first year with the challenges, and we have seen certain pitchers have a lot more success this year, and other guys have struggled. I do like having the computer do it. I just wish we wouldn't have to challenge. Why do they even need to challenge? One thing that bothers me is when guys are really selfish early in the game. There was a play yesterday. Nobody on base. They were in like the third inning, and the guy challenged, and it wasn't even close. It was 2 inches away. That hurts your team. So we see a lot of that. It tells you a lot about the personalities of some of these teams, where some of these guys just take it upon themselves. They're worried about their own stats as opposed to their team. But it's been a lot of fun this year. I still hate the extra inning deal. I've lost so many unders in extra innings this year. 2 runs going into the 9th, and all of a sudden it's at 10. So I don't like it, but it's, people don't have a lot of patience anymore, and they don't want to wait those years. But hey, there's been times when I was a kid when I go to double headers, and I even wanted both those games to go extra innings. So I love baseball that much.
Yeah, it's funny, Brian. Somebody in a video the other day, said, Steve, you seem to give out a lot of overs, never unders. Well, I do use unders, but over the years, I probably have started giving out more overs in all sports than unders because I do feel like you get more bad beats with unders and that baseball extra inning and just really, I guess, overtime in any sport, right, Brian? And overtime, the NBA playoffs bit some people on that game one of the finals. I like games in which you've won by the third quarter in an NFL game. So the NFL, I definitely play more overs than I have probably 20 years ago. The pitch, we talked about replay with the soccer. It's a slippery slope. I think the calls should be right, but you're right. Like, why do they even need it? The robo-umps in the minors, they've had that for several years, including those AAA games in Summerlin. I think they're just trying to slow roll that in, not to piss the umps off too much. But it's the wave of the future, and it's going to get to where they're telling the ump in his earpiece, ball or strike, and we're not going to have to worry about it anymore. I mean, do you see any disadvantage to that?
No, in fact, they had a listing the other day of the 10 worst umpires based on blown calls. 3 of them are retiring this year. So we're getting there. We're getting there. They want the umpire union is really strong. That's the whole thing.
Sure.
And that's what they're worried about. And now with the possible lockout next year or whatever, we'll have to see how that goes. I'd be more concerned about getting rid of the umpires as I would be to having a salary cap. I don't think they need a salary cap. Baseball is the one league where every year, other than lately with the Dodgers, you've got different teams in it. And, other games, the NBA is, for the most part, you see the same teams every year. Football, very similar. So I have no problem with not having a salary cap in baseball.
Yeah, and you look at the teams that try to stack. I mean, the Dodgers never should have won the World Series last year. There were about 3 or 4 incredible moments that kept Toronto from winning that thing. I mean, Toronto was probably at 99% at some points in Game 7 to win that thing. So it is nice to kind of root for the smaller market teams. Hey, speaking of smaller market teams, Havaski's been asking about this game a couple of times in the comments. Pirates versus Indians game 1. And I know you're a Cleveland guy, so I love that he called them the Indians, by the way. I didn't even think it took me a few minutes to realize that they're not the Indians anymore. And I know you and I think the same way on that. But your Cleveland Guardians against the Pirates, always tricky doubleheaders. I, for the most part, stay away from them. Game 1's maybe a little bit more handicappable than games 2 because you somewhat know what you're getting out of the gate.
Yeah, we have Pittsburgh and Cleveland, and I usually don't put up plays in game 2 because you don't know what the bullpen situation is. But I had a play on the first half, and I just found out that the starter for Pittsburgh has been scratched, so they're undecided. So there's one of my 3 plays already today that has been canceled. But yeah, we talked about this on the show. And by the way, I do a baseball show, Total Bases, every day, Monday through Saturday, with Tokyo Brandon and Adam Trigger, really in-depth baseball coverage. We talked about this game yesterday a lot because it was supposed to have been played, and obviously with the winds and the smoke in the Ohio area, they canceled the game. So if you want a more in-depth, you can always check. I think it's one of the first games we discussed on yesterday's show. But this one, we got Jones going against Williams, and Jones has been really good as of late. He's a guy I really like. He's had injury problems in the past, but he's coming off of basically a no-hitter. He went 6 innings and they took him out early, and you have to do that. You can't, coming off of injury, you've got to pull these guys out early. This is a different time in baseball. But, you're getting him right now is basically a 115 underdog here against Cleveland. I do like Gavin Williams, but Pittsburgh's offense is so much better than Cleveland's right now. They're still missing their third baseman, who I think is going to be back next week. He says he's not going to take any minor league games. I don't know if that's going to help at all. You've got to get some sort of practice out there. But Jones against Williams, if I'm playing this one, I'm taking Jones. Like I said, there's upwards of 119 out there now, a lot of 110s. If you can catch anything at 115 or higher, I think Pittsburgh is the right choice on that one. Williams has had a problem in the past with his walks, but he's much better than that this year. He's gotten a lot of confidence. You find that a lot with these younger pitchers. Once they get their confidence and they know they can throw the ball right down the plate and guys can't hit it, and that's the problem. He was just picking off the corners before. Now he's throwing it right down the plate. But this Pittsburgh offense is a whole lot better than Cleveland's. So I think there's a little bit of value on Pittsburgh in that first game.
Talking baseball with Brian Leonard. If you have any specific games for this Saturday, drop them in the live comments. We got about 10 minutes remaining. And by the way, Brian's on a 42-22 all sports run the last 30 days. 42-22, Brian. I know you're going to have your best bets up here shortly after the show at WagerTalk.com. What are your thoughts on this Phillies-Mets game? Notice you got a free play up on that game on your page, so let people know what you're looking at in that one this afternoon.
Yeah, I think it may be 42-20. I might have put that in wrong. We did go 0-2 yesterday.
No, I'm going on the WagerTalk homepage.
Okay.
So this wasn't even you. Yeah, WagerTalk homepage on the last 30. So the robot. That's the instant replay of WagerTalk right there, the front page.
I am number one the last 30 days, number one all time in Major League net profit at WagerTalk, and we've been around for 12 years or so.
You and I've been along longer than that. I know you've been winning since the 80s, my friends.
Yeah,
Don't let WagerTalk predate you too much.
Yeah, I've been doing this for 45 years, so I know baseball pretty well. But you were speaking of the Phillies game, and I just put that up as my free play as I was waiting on the other gentleman to give their information. But yeah, we got Manaea against Luzardo. The Mets have not really hit that great against lefties. It doesn't show in the WRC plus. They're pretty equal, but I believe they've really struggled. Like they're like 3-13 or something against lefties. When they're an underdog against National League teams, they've really struggled. Philadelphia, awful loss, has been very good. And we got a couple lefties here. We got Manaea and we got Luzardo. Philadelphia is a team I'm looking to play on as a favorite. It's a pretty decent sized favorite. I think it's 135 or higher. They've got a tremendous record. They win the games they're supposed to win. And they didn't play yesterday, obviously. They had that first game on Thursday, and they did lose that one. It was a low-scoring game. They lose that game 4-1. But I like Luzardo. He is a guy that doesn't get as much attention as some of their other starters. Obviously, Wheeler's a guy. For what he has done this year, it's amazing, and he deserves to be upset for not being originally named to the All-Star team. But the Metro team's starting to hit right now, but I think there's a sizable pitching advantage here with Luzardo over Manaea. And as much as I came into the season liking the Mets bullpen, at least the late inning guys, Williams has struggled this year. And I really like the guys in the back end of Philadelphia. They did have a guy that just brought back, pitched a couple games, but he's hurt again. So it's not quite as strong in the bullpen for Philadelphia. But the one thing we can see out of these games coming on yesterday and today is most teams are in really good shape in the bullpens. So I do a lot of my handicapping is who's going to be able to pitch out of the bullpen and who is not. Even the guys that pitched yesterday, just about all of them are available today. So I like the Philadelphia bullpen. I prefer the Philadelphia offense and the starting pitcher. And you can get Philadelphia right now as low as, I see 166 is out there, but 175 or less, I think Philadelphia is a pretty good play.
Yeah, I actually used the free play in the Mets Thursday, and a lot of that was just fading Aaron Nola, who's been one of the worst pitchers in baseball as a favorite. So the Mets were 40-57 before the break. So it'll be interesting to see if they turn things around, but they've been a real dumpster fire so far, and Brian's fading them here. One of the questions in the chat, actually, this is a pretty good game to talk about. He's listing New York, NYC-born 74 is listing some games he likes, but one of the ones he mentions is Tampa. They're playing the Red Sox. That's actually the ESPN national TV game at 4 Eastern Saturday afternoon. Boston's starting to make a run. Don't look now, but the Red Sox aren't the worst team in baseball anymore like they were at the start of the season. Tampa, Yanni mentioned that he gave them out as a preseason pick to win the AL, maybe win the World Series. So pretty good matchup here in the always loaded American League East on ESPN today. Red Sox and Rays. What are you looking at this one?
Yeah, it's funny. Usually when the break comes up and you get a team on, what did Boston won, like 11 straight, 10 straight, whatever, right. You figure that's going to take away some of their
momentum killer, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they come out and sweep the doubleheader yesterday. We got two lefties, Seymour against Sandoval. Seymour's a guy that I really like for Tampa Bay. Sandoval, he's okay. He's okay. So the pitching advantage, at least from the starter, goes to Tampa Bay, and you're looking at basically a pick-em situation here. And normally I look to fade teams that sweep a doubleheader the day before, which would put me on Tampa Bay, but then you're going against a team playing at home that has won all these games in a row. They have a lot of young players. They're getting a lot of confidence. It's tough to go against Boston in this situation. The total at 9.5, I think, is a little bit high. I think a lot of that has to do with Sandoval. They're not believing in Sandoval. It wouldn't surprise me if this game goes the under. You can get that under 9.5 at a pretty nice spot right here, -110 or whatever. That's probably the way I would look at this one. Like I said, I normally play Tampa in this situation, but I don't want to stand in front of Boston. I thought that would end. But after the break, but no, they still have their confidence, swept the board yesterday. Don't want to stand in front of that train.
Yeah, I mean, momentum's a real thing. When you're playing 162 games, Yanni and I talked about this earlier. The best teams are going to win 60-some games, 40%.
Yeah.
The worst teams barely get to 100. Maybe one team all year gets to 100. They all lose 40%. But it's not so easy as just zig and zagging, because these bad teams will lose 10 straight and then they'll win 6 out of 7 or something. So you really do have to keep an eye on form. And I'm with you. I mentioned that in my video Thursday that, I think the bye in the NFL or college football or the All-Star break in the NBA or baseball, I always use buys as kind of a momentum shifter, and a hot team maybe cools off, a cold team like the Mets maybe come on. So, yeah, Red Sox have been red hot before, and it looks like they're still hot, so we'll keep an eye on them. And a lot of good interleague matchups. So we had Rangers-Braves, but we've also got Dodgers-Yankees. We got to touch on that one tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern. Dodgers and the Yankees, two of the favorites in both leagues. And I don't know, a little bit of a shame maybe they put this right after the break. I think this would have been better saved for maybe early August.
Well, the good thing is they've got all their bullpen guys available, like I said earlier, and that'll help because both teams have pretty good bullpens. And the Dodgers are going to get 2 starters back and their former closer in the next couple of weeks. So the rich get richer. And that's basically the title of this series. At least it was when George Steinbrenner was the owner of the Yankees. I'll tell you that. The Yankees don't buy those free agents like they did before, but they're still a very good organization. Ryan Weathers brought in. I really thought he was going to be much better for the Yankees. Kind of struggled a little bit in the past when he played for Miami. When he was healthy, he was a guy that usually had a lot of value, but now he plays for the Yankees, and you rarely find value going against the Yankees. But they are playing the Dodgers, another team that everybody just likes to blindly bet. And VR made a nice point when he talked about, the teams, the better teams in the league don't always win. And, I always say you got your best teams winning 60, your worst teams are winning 60%, your worst teams losing 60%. And the reason is in baseball, every team during the season on average uses 10 different starting pitchers. So you got basically 10 different teams to handicap. A lot of teams have aces that are really good. I mean, look at Detroit for Skubal all these years, and then there's a little bit of drop off. Now Detroit's got some young players in the starting rotation now that I'm really excited about. And I said a few weeks ago that I think Detroit had some nice value to make the playoffs, and they've been very good since. But in this game, Sheehan and Weathers are 2 guys that I really don't trust at this point. We're getting a total of 9, which is in a pretty good hitter's ballpark here. But I used the Yankees yesterday as my free play, and other than one pitch, they could have thrown a shutout. If you're looking at Sasaki yesterday, he was terrific. 21 pitches of 100 miles an hour or more. That is a new record for the Dodgers. And keep in mind, they've only charted these through, I believe, 2014. But he was terrific yesterday. So really, it could have gone 9 innings of shutout baseball. A lot of good unders in yesterday's game. I think this game may go over. You're getting basically plus 100 on over 9 in this game. I'd love to see an 8.5 out there right now because obviously, as you've mentioned over the years, your odd numbers, your 7s, your 9s are obviously more important. If this thing gets down to an 8.5 somehow, even if I have to pay maybe a 120, I think the over would be the way I'd look. But right now, I'm only seeing 1 out there. It's 8.5 minus 25. That's probably a nickel more than I'd be willing to pay.
Yeah, and the reason, as Brian mentioned, that odd numbers are more likely, 7 and 9 specifically, is because of extra innings. Games can't end in tie unless it's the 2002 All-Star game, whatever year it was. So if it's 4-4, your 8 has to become a 9. Yet another reason, extra innings is where unders go to die, as Brian talked about at the top. Great comments today. We appreciate everyone. Freebird 1988, once again, thank you for the donation. That'll go towards a charity here in the near future. And Freebird also mentions what a great show Total Bases is, Brian. So you guys are doing great work Monday through Saturday with that one. And let's close it off with the last game asked here. Benjamin Greenberg, 78-41, and it's appropriate because he's asking about my Washington Nationals against your future Las Vegas Athletics. 10 o'clock Eastern, late night special. Nats and Athletics. What are you doing with this one?
Yeah, you mentioned Freebird, and I got to say this is one guy. I'm always excited to meet people that are in our chats and follow us. I look forward to it. One day I'm going to get together with Freebird. He seems to be just.
Yeah, I agree.
He's a great guy. He's always giving the charity here. He travels around the world. Got to get next time you're in Vegas, Freebird. Look me up. I'd love to go out to dinner with you. Okay, let's look at the Washington Athletics game. And this is one game yesterday that I thought was going to have some scoring, and it did from one team, 23-2, I think was the final. Littell against Ginn here. And keep in mind, that was the Athletics' best pitcher, and he didn't pitch that bad. But obviously, when he came out of the game, it really lit up because neither one of these teams have good bullpens, and that's the problem right now. Is you got some Kansas City's terrible, a lot of bad bullpens out there, and that's the problem at Washington. Washington's a great hitting team. I've made so much money on them this year, either betting the team totals over or their games over. So you have to clearly look at that. The number's up to 11 right now, 11.5 in some spaces, but the wind's blowing out of some of these ballparks here today. And I'll take a look at there's a website I use, Ballpark Pal, and he does a lot of great information. I think it's like $60 for the year. It's pretty ridiculous. So I'm always looking to support those kind of guys. But the wind's blowing out in this ballpark pretty heavily. They're expecting 20% more runs, which is 1.79 more runs than normal. It's hot here. Precipitation's high, and the wind's blowing, and it's blowing pretty hard. So they're expecting 33% more home runs, 17% more doubles and triples. So, yeah, this could be a very high-scoring game as well. But normally, when a team scores double-digit runs, kind of the next day they kind of slump back a little bit. So maybe it'll be the A's today. The A's don't have some of their better home run hitters. They've been hurt. But from a 1 through 9 lineup right here, because obviously you mentioned before I live in Vegas, that's the AAA home of the Aviators for the A's. They've got some good guys in the minor leagues here that come up to the majors. They can have success in Sutter Health Park. And keep in mind, this is the Sacramento Bees are one of the teams that play in the Pacific Coast League. So these guys are very, very familiar with playing in that ballpark, and that's why a lot of the A's have success there. So even though Washington, I can't see them scoring double digits again in this one, I think the 11.5 is kind of light. I think both teams get to probably 7 runs here.
Even the number 9 hitter for the Nats last night had 6 at-bats. I'm not sure I've seen that any time in a regular 9-inning game in which everyone had 6 at-bats. In fact, Abrams was subbed out. He had 5, and then the pinch hitter got 1. That's wild. The A's used 6 pitchers last night, Brian, and as you mentioned, that's a hitter-friendly ballpark. It's very appropriate that the A's are moving maybe into Summerlin. Yeah, eventually they might just be on the Strip, but if they move early, maybe they play.
Yeah. They play 2 series in Summerlin this year, and they're playing another 2 next year. And the ballpark's about half bill right now. So, yeah, they'll be on the Strip.
But the AAA guys, as you mentioned, the pitchers and the hitters go from Summerlin to another hitter-friendly park in Sacramento here for a couple years. Yeah, I think the only way this game doesn't soar is if the Nationals have a letdown today after 23 runs, which we do often see. It's an amazing thing. I've researched that over the years. Teams will put up 20-some and then put up 2. Baseball is an amazing zig and zag. Brian, red hot, 42-22 last 30 days. Pretty damn good. You're going to have some best bets up for baseball, I assume, here on Saturday in a few moments. You've got the free play listed on your page. Let everybody else know what is in the works. Football right around the corner, my man. Yes, August is almost here.
Yeah, football right around the corner. Do we still have that deal where they can get the baseball and the football all the way through?
Yeah, it's a great, the 6 week. It's basically 6 weeks still remaining. It's through August 29th, which is that first Saturday of college football. There's 8 games on the board, 8 Division 1A games. And it's going to get every sport from now until then. So for Brian and myself, that's a lot of baseball. Maybe some NFL preseason we'll sprinkle in there, right? And then that first weekend of college football. $2.99. It's on Brian's page right now. There's no promo code needed. Great way to get on board.
Yeah, if you want to get any of the guys that are on the other site also, or excuse me, the other show, they have a special buy one, get one for free, basically, for 3 days. It's a great deal. Don't quote me on that. I know it's just a discount, but then they have 6 days for the price of 3.
Yeah, buy 3, get 3 free. Yeah, for 69, dude. Yeah. 3 days, normally 69, dude. It's 6 days for 69. And a little insider tip is they're stackable, which means you can buy multiple 6-day packages and then use them throughout the summer. And somebody asked earlier on Yanni's 7-day in the chat, you can pick your start date on these packages. So you can buy 3, get 3, and then kind of load them up for the rest of the summer and then use them whenever you want a 6-day package. So, yeah, Brian Leonard, Steve Merrill, Carmine Bianco, Yanni the Greek, mix and match. Buy 3, get 3 from multiple cappers. We're all covering different sports with a different approach, and you will make some money this summer. Brian, great seeing you. We will catch up soon, hopefully.
Let's do it.
And be sure to check out Total Bases with Brian, Tokyo Brandon, Adam Tricker, also Monday through Saturday. Working the weekend, partial weekend worker, Monday through Saturday. He's got to sleep at some point on Sunday.
Got to have one day off.
One day off. Sunday, getaway day.
I want to drink sometime.
You got to get away day.
It's 6
4 o'clock.
a.m. out here when I do that show. So
I know, but the baseball ends early on Sunday, so you get one evening of drinking before you
go.
reload. Thanks,
There you
Brian.
go.
Great seeing you, my friend.
Thank you.
All right, that'll do it for Wager Talk Last Call. Thanks for all the support once again in the live chat. And if you're watching this on the replay here 24/7, these shows are archived on Wager Talk TV. We're over 255,000 subscribers. Over 250,000 people can't possibly be wrong. There might be a couple people wrong, but over 250,000 can't be wrong. Make sure you're one of them. Subscribe and click the bell for instant alerts so you'll know when these shows go live and also when free play videos are posted throughout the week here on the channel. Like and comment below. And hey, if you're on your mobile device, hit the hype button. It is so much fun. Hype it up on your mobile device. And don't forget some great specials right now. Buy 3 days, get 3 days free for any capper and all cappers at Wager Talk. Also, the 6-week special through the start of college football for just $2.99, all sports every day. No promo codes needed. And also check out those free plays. I've got a free baseball play for Saturday on my page, Steve Merrill, wagertalk.com. You get there quicker, wt.buzz/SM. Thanks to all the guests, and thanks to Tom Viola in the studio producing. Did a great job here today. And we'll be back soon here on Wager Talk TV. Have a great weekend. Good luck, everybody.